Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett, contemplations and reflective meditations. Hello and welcome to another Contemplative Living, where we talk about concepts to bring contemplative living into everyday life. You know, I'd like to start out with something that I found on the web. You are the light of the world when your compassion radiates and pervades the world. Emmett Ray said that. And we are the light of the world. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how we can express ourselves and to help our fellow man. Okay? So, as we experience greater joy and ease in our lives, it's natural to share this expanded awareness experience. We want to share that greater knowing that we have. We want to share that with our fellow man, with our family, with our community. We want to bring that into our everyday life. But as we experience that greater joy and ease in our lives, as we work on our spiritual path and we are able to develop that joy and ease and peace within our center, and we're able to bring that into our day-to-day life, we begin to share it. We begin to share that expanded awareness that comes from our spiritual practice. It's and let your awareness speak for itself. Then respond to others' people's curiosity and interest. This is something that I started a long time ago for myself. I called it my quiet ministry, that I was going to live by what I'd learned within my experiences, within my spiritual experiences, and I was going to allow them to guide me in the way that I live my life and the way that I interact with everyone around me. And so that greater awareness that I was bringing into my everyday life became something that people didn't understand all the time, but they recognized that I was coming from my authentic self. I was coming from my true essence, and I was expressing it. That greater awareness I was expressing in my everyday interactions and in the way that I worked and in the way that I played. So that became a curiosity point sometimes for people. And then they would maybe ask a question. And for me, when someone asks me a question, that's opening the door. And it allows me then to reveal what's behind the door. I don't always have to share that deep experience that I've had. You know, the near-death experience, that's huge for me. But what's more important for me is the journey after the spiritual experience and how I used that, how I developed a practice and how I moved forward in my life. On our journey to find creative solutions, it's inevitable there will be challenges that cross your path. That's true for everyone. It's true for everyone. We always have challenges. I mean, look at the last year and a half. It's been nothing but challenges, okay? But when we maintain our integrity, when we maintain our true nature and our inner truth and our love and compassion, those help us to rise above the solution, above the circumstances, to help us see clearer solutions for ourselves, for our family, and for our communities. That's where we want to come from. That's where we want to address the challenges that cross our paths. That's a more natural state of being. We're meant to be in that natural state of being. Addressing obstacles that arise from other people. It's important to always maintain an attentive and respectful awareness. Now, we were talking about challenges that cross our path, and many times that path can be very narrow, and so other people sometimes create obstacles. They don't want us to get past. They don't want us to move forward in our path. And I'm not going to try to go into why they feel that way, but a lot of times we are guided to keep moving forward. And sometimes some people don't want to move forward, and so you sometimes move past them. And that's okay. We can still be compassionate, we can love them, we can support them. But it's important to maintain an attentive and respectful awareness of them, and be aware that we're on this planet together, and that we may not understand where they're at, and they may not understand where we're at. But that's okay. We all have our own paths, and we all have our own way of communicating those paths. Creative solutions overcome difficulty by listening, respecting, and opening up to a broader perspective. We all want to lift each other up. It's a part of human nature. We all want to be there for each other. And so the best way to do that is by listening. Listening. Whenever we are with each other, it's important that we're wholly with each other, in complete attention. But many times when we're interacting with other people, we're thinking about our own stuff, right? We tend to just go there. So we're maybe, having lunch with a friend, but in the back of our mind, we're thinking about the laundry list or the grocery list or something that we need to do later. Instead of being there fully and attentively and respectfully opening up to a broader perspective. And that's how we overcome difficulties as well. It's one way to be with each other, but also to look at our challenges. When a challenge crosses our path, we have choices. We have choices on how to address it. But first, we have to listen and learn, what is the challenge really all about? Because how are we going to overcome it if we don't understand it? That's what's really important for us to be attentive. And this all boils down to mindfulness. Being mindful, fully present in each and every moment, as much as we possibly can. And I know that's impossible for all of us, but the more we practice it, the more it becomes a way of being. We want to move in that direction. Every day, whether we consciously realize it, we are growing into a more complete and fulfilled self. So I learned this, especially, I had my first experience, and in that first experience, there was so much that I could only take a little bit of it. And I used that little bit to kind of guide me. And then I had another intense spiritual experience 11 years later. And in that experience, it showed me how much I had changed, and I didn't realize it. I couldn't realize it because I can't see the big picture. Only in these spiritual experiences where we touch on that greater expanded awareness can we see the big picture. So I didn't realize in 11 years that I was growing because of the spiritual experience that I had and because of the ideals I adopted from that experience. They helped propel me into a forward motion of bettering myself by living with what I learned in these spiritual experiences. Now, something has to develop within ourselves that lights a small flame of transcendence so that we may extend our vision beyond ourselves. And we realize there are many flames set in the path of enlightenment to illuminate our past fog so that we can move forward. And remember always that peace is the source of everything. Peace and love are the source of everything. It's what we are at our fundamental core. It's what is. Peace is both active and still, active and calm. And it's who we are at our center. So I hope that you can find the time to become that intrepid explorer within yourself and realize with understanding that the spiritual experiences that you have light your true nature up. And they illuminate, and that light illuminates your path and brings you to yourself so that you can help your community, help your family, and above all, help yourself in your growth. I hope you have an amazing week ahead. Namaste.